Hi everyone. Okay, hold on a moment. There's some. Okay. Hi Roxana. Hi everyone. Welcome back to this weekly podcast, right? I'm here every Wednesday. 12 o'clock Central is the time, and this is a Rise Up and Share Your Medicine podcast. And today I'm talking about something that's really important and powerful, really for all humanity, but especially for helpers, for all of you who are change makers, visionaries, helpers, who are here anchoring in the light, right? Who are here as examples of what's possible, who are the people that often others turn to, whether that's professionally. A lot of my clients are, coaches, therapists, but they're also in so many different fields, or even if you're retired or in between careers, but you've always had this longing, this prayer, this knowing that you're here to elevate the world. And so the title of this podcast episode is Call Back Your Energy Without Closing Your Heart, right? So this was really inspired by a couple of things. Definitely, it's something that I often talk to my clients about. It's definitely been something that I have worked through for many, many years. And it recently came up in a healing session that I was a client of. In fact, I talked about it. If you missed my YouTube yesterday, I uploaded a video talking about that healing session with the shamanic healer and this whole thing around purging. So if you want to see that, you can go on my YouTube channel. It's there. But today, in this moment, there was a particular thing that happened during that session that reminded me, like, oh, this is so important. I want to anchor it into a podcast episode. And so, what happens often, why is this a problem for helpers? Well, let me back up. What am I talking about? If you're feeling heavy, overstimulated, kind of like frenzied action, like just like your mind's wandering all over the place, or even very fatigued, right? There's different ways this can manifest. Maybe it's hard for you to feel very grounded. All of those, and there's more, can be signs that you've taken on the pain, the energy, the worry of other people. And that could be other people in your life, right? Loved ones, clients, students, and or it could be just the collective, like literally strangers walking on the street, or even like someone you didn't physically connect with, but energetically you're feeling the weight of the world. And so why does this happen so much to helpers? There's a couple of reasons. And if you've heard me, in these episodes before, you probably can figure it out already. So one reason that's really important to know is you are designed. You're like a walking antenna. You're designed to be able to tune in and feel energies around you, really subtle energies, right? You're designed to tune into the needs of the world. In a way, also to tune into the pain of the world. Now, notice I'm saying tune in. I'm not saying absorb, take on, right? I'm saying tune in. It's like you're this beautiful instrument. Why? Because you're a helper. So, of course, God, the divine, was like, okay, like, for example, if you think, do myself as an example. Before I came into the world, I agreed I wanted to be a helper. I wanted to come in and be a helper. So God, my soul, the divine, the universe, whatever word you want to use, was like, okay, Lisa wants to be a helper. This is her sacred mission. So we want to give her some special tools for that. And of course, one of them is going to be this extreme sensitivity, like a really in-depth sensitivity, intuition, awareness. So it's the same for you, right? Like that was part of the design. Okay, so that's reason number one. Now, however, and this is really important, and it has taken me a very long time to really truly understand it, and more importantly, to feel it in my body. Your sensitivity was never meant to feel like a burden, like a heaviness, like your cross to bear. It was supposed to feel good. Your sensitivity was meant to feel like your superpower, right? Like if you've ever watched superhero movies, I not all of them, but I love watching like that genre really speaks to my heart. And there's often the scene, right, where first they don't know they're superheroes, and then they've realized, like Superman, let's just say, then he realizes, oh my gosh, I'm from another planet, I have all these superpowers. And then it's really fun to know, like, I can fly, I can do this, I can do that. So same thing, our sensitivity was meant to feel good, it was meant to be nurturing, was meant to be something that kept you safe and protected. And that really guided your path forward to know, okay, who am I here to help? Who am I here to serve? What am I here to download from the divine? What inspiring teaching or book or product am I supposed to create? How am I meant to talk to my people? Like it's all meant to be a gift. But then we come into the world and what happens? Part of being a helper is also we often have some really challenging experiences that we also chose, that were part of our divine curriculum, part of the training. And so when you had those traumatic, challenging experiences, especially in childhood, those little sensors, that antenna that you had, yes, in some ways it also kept you safe, right? Maybe you were able to like kind of read when things were dangerous or know that okay, I gotta like pull back. I can't stand out too much because it's unsafe. In those times, that was important for you to know. Those were strategies that were helpful. A lot of times in childhood, you had to be over vigilant, or maybe it wasn't even childhood, sometime in your life where it was like not safe, and you had to be so really, really vigilant to track what was happening. And that's what kept you safe. But what ends up happening? So now, in the present moment, as a helper, as someone that's here to be a change maker and visionary to serve your people, and I'm just going to use that phrasing, your people, to signify whatever that means for you, okay? The people you're here to serve, to be an example of what's possible for. Those strategies don't work anymore. So what happens is we walk around the world with these little antennas and tendrils. I keep picturing a beautiful octopus. If you don't know octopus, and it is octopuses, by the way, I looked it up. I thought it was octopi, but no, it's octopuses, are so intelligent and beautiful, totally otherworldly, and their tentacles are super, super sensitive. So I feel very aligned with octopus medicine. And so imagine you have these, your aura is this golden light, and you have those little tentacles going around the world. But when you've had trauma and, you know, fears and those, what happens is those tendrils are taking on too much information. Ooh, that person is in pain. Oh my gosh, that's not safe. I have to fix that. I have to save that person. I have to do something. Ooh, like, oh, that person's probably going to judge me. Let me hold back. Let me not speak my truth. Let me stay dim. Right? And so on and so forth. And then when you add thought errors that a lot of helpers have, meaning that, and I've talked about this many times in other episodes, but I have to help everyone. I have to save everyone. I have to self-sacrifice. I have to overextend. That's an added burden on those little tentacles, right? So what ends up happening is you walk around the world, instead of the tentacles, these little beautiful golden tentacles, golden antenna, tendrils, whatever you want to think of them as, instead of them going through the world, first of all, connected to your soul and to God and your higher self, and going through the world, attuning to your people and who you're here to serve and how you're here to create. Instead of that, or maybe it's doing that, but on top of that, it's also tuning into everything else. And then what happens? Total overload, right? The extreme of that would be total burnout or just kind of crashing. But for most of you who are watching this, right, we're functional. You get through the world, but it could be, this is where often then we just pull back. Oh, I can't help more people. That's so overwhelming already. I can't, right? And so this is why it happens. So I wanted to just give you that visual of why it happens. I have my notes here, so I just want to make sure I'm looking through them. So I want to give you a couple of personal examples. So when I first started, I was a teacher before back in Chicago. I taught middle school, 7th graders. If you're not in the United States, that's like, 13. I had like students as young as 12, as old as probably 14, sometimes older. Sometimes I had older 7th graders. And, but then I left that job, and then I 15 years ago, it was like, okay, my soul guided me to venture on this whole new adventure of, I didn't even know exactly, right? It was different. I knew it was like spirituality, energy healing. I wasn't sure. But I started doing Reiki, energy healing. That was like one of the first things I started doing. And you might have heard me tell this story, but I worked at a fertility center in Chicago, helping women who were trying to conceive. Like I would do Reiki. And this was really, really early on. And this was like, I left teaching in 2009. And so it was the fall of 2009, the first school year that I didn't go back as a teacher. And this opportunity came to me through a friend, and I started doing Reiki there. Now, I was very insecure, very new. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing. Those were my thoughts, right? Back then. And so I remember, if you don't know, in a traditional Reiki session, often a person, this would be a woman sitting, would be lying down like on a massage table. This was hands-on. Now I do, with my clients, you don't have to be hands-on, right? Like now I know, I understand deeply, like long distance Reiki energy healing is so powerful. So that's something I integrate into my coaching sessions all the time. So anyway, they would be lying down and I would just gently place my hands on them. So very soon after I started there, I started getting all these crazy images in my head. Like my hands would be on their shoulders and mostly thinking like, oh my gosh, I hope they feel better. I hope this works. I hope they're not like, what is she doing? All of that. But then suddenly I'd have images of the person, and what was being activated for me at that time was my gift in being able to tune into past lives. I mean, that was something I mean, I thought it was cool. I wasn't sure yet what I believed about it. I was open to it. So it's not like I was intending to do that. But now fast forward 15 years, I realize that's just part of my gifts, right? It's just another level of sensitivity to tap into parallel lives, past lives. But at the moment, I didn't know that. So when I started and I would see an image of a woman and would look like a village with like, I remember one in particular, and remember I was helping women who were trying to conceive. And I remember this vision I had with this woman, and she was in a cottage, a stone cottage, with a lot of children, like lots of little children. And I could tell that they were hungry and they didn't have a lot of money, and she looked so worried. Now, in my mind, what is happening as I'm picking up on this? I'm thinking like, what? Like, I literally remember thinking like, okay, I've got to stop this. Why am I imagining that? Like, I knew I wasn't imagining it, because why would I sit there and try to imagine a woman in a cottage? But I also didn't understand it. And I was getting so overwhelmed. And of course, I didn't tell in the beginning, I would not say anything to people about this because I didn't know how to communicate it. I didn't quite understand what was happening. As time went on, I started to understand like, oh, I think I'm picking up on other lifetimes of people. And even if I fully didn't accept that, I was like, well, maybe this is just archetypal and symbolic, and maybe it would be helpful for people. The point for this podcast episode, I could go do a whole podcast episode about that. But for this podcast episode was that I had to learn, though, that I didn't need to, because there were times where I would literally get bombarded with information. It was like I was watching just a slideshow of like, oh, there's that movie, that movie, that movie. There were like all these different characters. It was overwhelming. And it wasn't until this beautiful teacher who I literally connected for like 10 minutes with, it was just synchronicity. And I started explaining, and she was like, Lisa, you can ask God, the universe, to only show you what is helpful, only show you what will help you and the person you're doing Reiki on. And I was like, oh, that's so simple, but nobody told me this. And I did. And I started saying that, like, okay, God, I don't need to see every lifetime. I don't need to only show me what will be helpful for this person, how I could contribute. And so this is the same thing now as an adult helper going through the world. You can definitely have that intention. Only have me tune in to what will be helpful for me, first of all, for your own higher self and for the world. And you want to do this from a sovereign place. You're not doing, tomorrow I have the masterclass, right? The sovereign shift. Reclaim your energy, reclaim your throne. You can still register it as a free masterclass. You will have the replay for a week. And, so you want to, so I say there that we're not here to save the world. We're not saving anyone. We're liberating it. And we can only do that from a liberated place, from a sovereign place. So your little tendrils aren't meant to go find all the people in pain and save them. That's attachment, that's codependency. When we're in that place, we're actually seeking validation, right? And there's no judgment because we all fall into that. But it's important for us to know and discern and say, you have sacred contracts. You have certain people that you're here to help. And so, for example, when a client starts to work with me, they have hired me as their coach, right? We have a sacred contract. They've paid me money. They invest their money and time to work with me. So when I'm in a session with them, my little antenna are totally open, right? My heart is open and I'm there ready, right? Like I'm helping them connect with their soul. I'm helping them unburden parts. And yes, if need be, my little antenna is gonna be like, ooh, I'm kind of picking up on possibly a past life here, or picking up, and I can share that, but we have an agreement. It's a sacred space. That's not how it's meant to be when you walk around in the world or when you're just living your life. So it's important to know that, right? So I'm just gonna look at that. Okay, cover that. So how do you heal this, right? What do you do? I kind of said it already, but one is for you to understand, like, you are, especially as a helper, you are this beautiful being. You have this golden light around you, and you have these tendrils and antenna that are your superpowers. They are your gifts. And you need to, if you feel like you get overstimulated, overburdened by the world, then that is just an indicator that those tendrils are out of balance. And so, and remember, like, your sensitivity is meant to be a gift. It's meant to give you life. Like, it's meant to fill you up. It's meant to feel like, whew, like alive, not like exhausting. And I want to be clear, I'm still working through this. I mean, I've come such a long way. I mean, such a long way. But still, like, if Greg and I might go to the mall later, the mall is not my favorite place at all. But we have one of my daughters is getting married next week. So there's a couple of things we still need to buy. And so I know that is one of those places, like, if I'm not intentional, I just walk in and, like, after 10 minutes, I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I got a headache. Why do I feel so heavy? What is going on? And then I realize, my little tendrils are like, they're just kind of tapping into, and sometimes it's not even the pain of the world. It's just the worry of people, or people being rushing around. It's just, this is what I want you to think of. If you know a tuning fork, I need to get one to show, but in a tuning fork tunes and helps to attune everything else around it. You are like a walking tuning fork. That's your gift. But when we're out of balance, what ends up happening is you walk into a place and it's like everyone else is the tuning fork. And you're just like, I'm attuned to this, I'm attuned to that, I'm attuned to that. So, like, either you feel really scattered and heavy, or you just shrink into a shell, or it could come to a point where you're like, I don't even want to leave my house, right? It's like, and so, again, it's meant to be empowering, not exhausting. As you keep evolving into your sovereign self, and you can go back on my podcast episodes. I talk a lot about what that means. Join the masterclass tomorrow. Schedule a free sovereignty consult. I just opened a few more slots. I offer a couple of slots a month. And we can talk about this some more too. If you're like, oh my gosh, I need private help with this, I'd love to talk. So I'm going to share with you a simple practice here. Okay, so this is a practice. First of all, and this is the thing with a practice, you're meant to practice it, right? It has to be practiced, because right now, for so many of us helpers, the default is we're tuning into the world so hyper vigilant, energetically. Even if you think, no, I'm not, I'm just focused on me, but if your little tendrils are out there everywhere, that's gonna cause depletion. So what I want you to visualize in this moment, visualize this golden light around you, like a cocoon, like an egg, a golden, beautiful egg. And it's almost the way I see it. And so this came up for me in my shamanic healing class. I don't think I ever finished this part of the story, because as I prepare to travel, we're in Mexico, we're going to go to San Antonio, Texas. That's where my daughter is getting married. One of my daughters, my oldest daughter. And so as I prepare to enter that space. And of course, I'm so excited to see her and see all my children and my little granddaughter and all of the things. And there's so much joy and celebration, so many things. And there's also other energies there. And so I'm really in preparation. This is what came up in the shamanic healing session. I visualized, I saw this like my aura, like an egg, a golden egg around me. And the egg was made of those like beautiful, like tendrils, like beautiful tentacles of an octopus, golden tentacles. And the first thing they needed to do was go up, up, up into the divine, right? To God, my soul. And of course, we know God and our soul isn't up, it's everywhere, but it's helpful to think of it that way. It can be. And then also, my roots were going deep into the earth. So the first thing is, I was just like in it fully, like to feel your energy just being circulated through you, like you up to the divine in your soul, back into the earth, just you, not anybody else, including the people that you love. Because this is another thought error we have, right? Like for me, for example, I could feel like my tendrils need to always be connected to my children. That's how I keep them safe, and I'm ensure that they're okay. But actually, that is not true. That would just cause depletion. The way I keep them safe and anybody else safe is to stay so fully in my power, in my light, because that's where I'm the most powerful. That's where I'm the most sovereign. That's where I'm the most intuitive. That's where I can get the most downloads and guidance on how to actually help them. So you do this. So for you, step one might be what you have to practice just over and over and over and over. And tomorrow in the masterclass, I will do a special being in your throne of truth meditation that will be like a deeper, going into this more deeply. So there's that. Once you do that, now imagine that you're going through the world and those golden tendrils are moving around, right, as they're meant to do. And you're intending, this is what I wrote, I only perceive what is helpful, what blesses me and those I serve. Again, I only perceive what is helpful, what blesses me and those I serve. Like and you want to just keep declaring that. And this is a process, because if you're someone that those tendrils have been really programmed to be hyper vigilant and aware and make sure they're not getting anyone upset, or make sure, like, it's going to take some time, right? It's going to be a process, but this will absolutely help you step into that powerful place. All right. So I want you to remember, this is your time to lead differently. This is what all of us helpers are getting initiated into, to help from this place. Why? Because this is the only thing that's sustainable. The other way is not sustainable, especially as the world goes through all the craziness that is happening, all the polarity, all the division, all the war. And this isn't to be apocalyptic, but it's going to get more intense in a lot of ways. And we were created to be part of the solution for that, but we can only do that when we're fully in our own energy. That's why I call this call back your energy without closing your heart, because I think sometimes as helpers we think that calling back our energy means, oh, I'm closing my heart. Okay, it's too much. I got to close my heart and not look at the pain. No, that's not what this is about. Right? It's like Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. It's like we're in the world sober and we can clearly see what's going on. We're not burying our head in the sand. But we're also not drowning in all of that stuff. We're here as the pillars of light. And so that's really important. So I hope this inspired you and gave you like some really tangible, practical teachings, practices to start doing on your own. And join the masterclass tomorrow if you're not signed up yet. There is a bonus for those of you who can attend live. I haven't done this the last few times, but I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to do a drawing for everyone there live for a free Sovereign Shift Oracle reading that I will deliver to you digitally. But only if you attend live, so you can have that. But of course, even if you can't sign up for the class, you have the replay for a week. What else do I want to say? Subscribe to my newsletter. That is the best way to stay on top of everything that's happening. Follow me on YouTube, because I don't know if you know, but I'm sharing, I'm doing this kind of long 30-day, this is what I'm trying to get out of my mouth, journey of just sharing on YouTube. And like, just because a lot of times, even though I'm here on the podcast and I send my emails and all of that, there's so much that's coming through that doesn't ever make it to the podcast, that doesn't ever make it to anything. It's just kind of like, and so that's a place where I can, like yesterday I talked about purging, why so many helpers are purging. The day before that was the first day where I talked about why for helpers, the most important question for you to ask is, what do I want? Like, how do I want to help? It's not even what do my people need? I know that sounds like such a noble question, but that can still have a level of codependency. When instead you ask, how do I want to help? What will bring me joy? That's actually, it's not selfish. It's actually the key to your highest impact. So anyway, I don't have special times on when I'm doing those. I'm truly just doing them as I can. I'm in the process of getting a better camera so that those, right now I'm just doing them on my phone. So you can join me for that. There's so many ways for you to connect with these teachings, to join this soul helper movement. That's what this is, a soul helper movement. And here, as we come, getting closer to the end of 2025, this is the year, right? The breakthrough year, the year of completion, the year of the snake shedding everything that's unnecessary. That's the other reason I'm showing up so much right now, because I know we are all in deep shedding, purging mode. And it's important that we keep moving forward. We stay the course with love, with compassion, and that we tune in to gratitude and joy as all of this is unfolding. And remember, if you want to talk with me privately, if you're looking for private help, there are some slots left this month. And I think I opened maybe one in November already for a sovereignty consult. Okay, I'd love to talk to you. There's nothing to prepare. Just show up exactly as you are. I will help you get clarity. All right, I think that is it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pull 2 cards. This is from the, what is it? The Surrender Oracle. Let's see. What is your divine self guiding you to surrender or surrender into? So perfect. Surrender to spirit. Once you've done everything you can, let me read that again. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. Look at that. So beautiful. Right? So this is what the message is right now for you. And then I'm just going to do a guardian angels, because this is, episode 144. And 44, one of the meanings is angels. So I was like, I have to pull an angel card. Okay, what are the guardian angels having to tell all of us helpers? Okay, they have many. Okay, what's the most important message? Visionary, embrace being a brave trailblazer who is unafraid to challenge the norm and swim against the current. So what does that mean? Swimming against the current of the ego, right? It's like, that's what you're being called to do. Don't allow doubt or others' negativity to hinder you. You are a potent visionary with distinct goals. How powerful is that? This is why it's so important for us to tune our antenna, our sensitivity to ourselves, our soul, so that you can bring those visions to life. That's what we're all preparing for 2026. 2026 is the year of the fire horse. Think about what a fire horse. Movement, momentum, catalyst. I mean, it's like so different than the year of the snake. But the year of the snake prepares you for the year of the fire horse. And I'm talking, this is like Chinese astrology, but there's all these different spiritual paths that are kind of giving us the same messages. All right, I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much, all of you who are here live. I know, Roxana, you're here. I can't see the other names, but thank you for being here. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow for the masterclass. I can't wait. Bye, everyone.